I don't see any live thing. Let's just do it. Hey, everybody. This is Sean Ventura with the Lights Camera Pro podcast. I am here with a very special guest today. It's Amy Elizabeth. She's a makeup artist. How you doing, Amy?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing very, very good. I am going to do a little ad here, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about your commercials and working with celebrities and working on print and how, you know, different situations with makeup, day and night, different skin colors, different situations, fashion versus documentary. I'm very excited because I have never had a makeup artist on the show before, so this is very cool.
Awesome. I'm your first.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to just run this ad real quick for Restream, and then we will get to our chat. Here we go.
Sounds great.
And then we will get to our chat. Very, very cool. Awesome. I just wanted to make sure we were live there for a second. We are. We're live. We have sound. Everything's cool. So you are in Atlanta also. I'm in Old Fourth Ward. Where are you?
I'm in Cabbagetown, so we're practically neighbors.
Yeah, very, very close.
Yeah.
So let me just ask the first question that we ask. Everything's a little weird. It's kind of quiet because I've got, we're using different software today because we couldn't get the Skype to work. And it's just like super, super quiet. And I'm like, what is going on? It's so quiet. The other software is louder and has like buzzing and clicking and stuff. So I'll just ask you the first question, which is, how did you know you wanted to be a makeup artist? Were you doing makeup on your sisters or brothers when you were a little kid, or was it college? Was it after college? When did you know this is what I want to do for a career?
As far as when I realized this is what I want to do for a career, it was well after college and into another career. But I was always playing makeup as a kid. I have a brother, so that didn't really work out for playing makeup on him. Although I did cut his hair once and it wasn't good. I think I was about 4. But anyhow, I used to ask my mom if I could do her makeup all the time. And there was a thing, I don't know if you'd remember, there was a Barbie head where you could do her hair and makeup. And yeah, I did that a lot.
I totally remember that.
That was one of my favorite things, yeah. So, but I went to college for 6 years to work in healthcare, and pretty early on, I wasn't happy, but I kept thinking it was where I was living or the facility I was at, and changed that about 4 times before I decided to take a look at the career itself. And at the time I was living in New York, I was a physical therapist, and I was treating a lot of people in the film industry, and I always wanted to go to school. Halfway through PT school, I told my parents that, and they kind of chuckled and said, that's nice. You pay for yourself to go to film school when you finish physical therapy. So a few years later, I'm treating all these people in the industry, and the world is tangible. And I had a patient invite me to come on set one day. And from that moment, I knew without a doubt I was supposed to work in that industry. It was just figuring out what I was supposed to do in the industry. So I believe fate has its own way of figuring things out for you. A friend suggested, listen, why don't you just quit your job? You're not happy. Take a job at a makeup counter. You love makeup, and figure out what it is you want to do. And I took a job with Bobbi Brown in New York, which turned out to be a life-changing thing that I didn't expect. There's going to be a summer job and then, you know, make the next step. But within a year, I stuck with it. I saw so much potential. I loved the way that she ran her business. And I got invited to be on her personal appearance team within a year. And so that just kind of took me to more and more opportunities. During that time, I decided to reach out to try to do freelance work with different production companies. And I look back now, I at least did put together a portfolio, but, you know, compared to what I have now, it's pretty funny when I look back and think, wow, somebody hired me. But yeah, someone hired me, and my first professional job was with Under Armour Apparel. Oops, sorry if I hit the mic there. was with Under Armour Apparel, who I continued to work for several years until they went in-house with everything. So it's kind of a long story. It's not the conventional route that most people take. So a lot of people just go to makeup school these days. But I chose to get in with a brand. And I was fortunate because I was in New York, and there are so many courses you can take in New York. I took a class with one of the SNL makeup artists for a day and different things like that. So instead of, I had already been through 6 years of college, and it's a lot of money to go through one of those like multi-month programs. So anyhow, I just took any course I could. I would take any job I could to get the experience. And the counter was really a great thing. I know people kind of ho-hum the counter as a start, but in New York, I worked with every ethnicity, every skin type, every skin color. It was a great way to learn skin texture, color. I can't say enough about that experience, actually.
Very cool. So let me ask you something that I don't understand. I didn't realize I was going to ask this, but like when you say makeup artist, you're also doing hair. You're also like, what are you getting direction from a director? Are you getting direction from a cinematographer? Who's telling you the look they want for the commercial, the documentary, the TV show? Like who's telling you what they want? And then did they come into the trailer and they're like, oh, here's Taylor Hicks, who's going to be on this show today. What do you think? And they're like, yes. Or do you just send them a still? How does it all work? How does the approval process work?
It's different for print, for commercial. I mean, if there's a film or a TV show and you're creating characters, that's usually thought out way ahead of time in production meetings and storyboards. I do get a storyboard for a commercial, and I look through it and see what I think about the character, and then I will confirm that with our agency or our director, make sure that fits the client's needs, because branding is different. It's all about the image they want to sell. And so they usually have a very specific idea of what they want, and it's usually very close to what they drew in the storyboards, I find. Like if they put the girl in a ponytail in the storyboard, chances are they want the ponytail in the actual commercial. Right. Now, so there's so many elements to that question, because TV and film is union. And I am in the union as a makeup artist, but you're usually one or the other, because you would have to do your hours all over and reapply for both disciplines. Most people are one or the other. So I am just makeup for union productions, but in commercial world, I often do both. And in print, I often do both, unless there's a ton of talent and we've got 12 people and it's too much for me to do both for all the talent. Then I might bring in a hairstylist with me on my team and say, you got the hair, I got the makeup, and we, trade back and forth. So it's really different for each medium, but most definitely with anything that's a brand or a product, I check with the client or the art director and just touch base and say, are we on the same page? Because you don't want to spend an hour in the makeup room, bring them out, and they're like, ooh, that's not what we had in mind. So, and usually it's most brands stick to pretty natural makeup, whereas a character in a film and that scripted film and TV would have a specific look that you have planned out and decided with the creative team.
Okay, so I'll give you some examples and maybe you can answer the question. So John Collins is a basketball player for the Hawks, and he was going to be on GMA. So let me see if I can find that picture. Here he is. Oh,
that one was a campaign for Express Men. So it was all about the suit, actually.
Okay.
So didn't mean to cut off your question.
No, that's okay. You didn't have to do makeup for him to have him go on the show? I thought it said makeup and hair, or no?
Yes. So what I do, if celebrity athletes do not like to spend a lot of time in the makeup chair. Right. If they did not have to see you at all, they wouldn't. Right. So I tell them, I'm like, it's going to be quick. This is what I usually do. And just start a dialogue. I kind of almost approach it like I did in healthcare. Hey, this is what we're going to do today. I just need you for like 5 minutes. So athletes, I get in and out of the chair as quickly as possible and do just what's needed. Mattifier, sometimes people need a little foundation or concealer depending on if they have skin issues or dark circles or something. I do use that on men, and sometimes it's skin prep and powder. A lot of people say just powder. It's rarely that's the case, but
right. So it's literally just John. This is what I'm getting at. It's literally just John Collins going, okay, I'm good. And there's no art director. There's no person from GMA saying, hey, he looks a little flaky or he looks a little cakey or anything like that. It's your call and his call, and he goes on TV.
Usually when someone's appearing on TV or print as themselves, I kind of just go right for it because for a man anyhow, you're just making them look as natural as possible with the best skin texture you can.
Right. So, okay, so let's talk about this picture. This is a what I would call a high fashion photo because of the clothing and the hair and the makeup. Mm-hmm. How did this happen and who approved it and what was the process?
So that clothing designer is Abby Glass, who is local to Atlanta, and I believe she still has her shop in Ponce City Market. Abby's great. This was a fun one. I love that tuxedo look. So I would ask her how she felt about this kind of look. We went a little darker lip because the outfit's very chic and has an edge to it. So I would ask her how she felt about that before I just sat her down in front of the camera.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But when you were done with it, was it just who was the person was like, that's great, I love it, let's shoot? Was it the photographer?
Abby's very hands-on on her shoot, so she's there. A bigger brand, they might have somebody rep.
Okay.
A major worldwide designer. Yeah, that somebody else is repping the client. But she's right there hands-on, and I might put the lip on her and say, I kind of think this would be a good look. What do you think? And if she says it's too dark, you can't get offended. It's everyone has their own opinion, and it's her brand, so it's got to feel good to her. I think some people get a little too thin-skinned. I always say, whatever you want, it's whatever you want. I just thought it might be fun. Can we try it and see what you think? And if I really feel like it would be a great look, let's try it. And if they don't like it, they don't like it. No big deal. We change it. That's the thing about makeup. It washes off,
Right. And you can do it. You can apply it again.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is interesting. This is a ad for Adidas, and it's black and white. And my question to you is it different doing makeup for black and white for an ad or print?
Not so much for men. I mean, some men you do contour, and that could look a little more dramatic black and white. You've got to go easy with that. But for women, you wouldn't want to do a dark lip because it can look black in a black and white. But for Justin Rose, again, men, you're just trying to make their skin look good. I think sometimes you see skin texture more in a black and white like that. So as natural as possible with making their skin texture look good.
Right. Okay. So celebrities. We've got Paul Wesley and Ian. Can you say his name? Somerhalder?
Yeah.
From Vampire Diaries. Is this just a quick, I hate to say it because I have no idea what I'm talking about, but foundation or are you putting eye makeup on them or doing their hair? What are you doing here for these guys?
I did not do eye makeup on them for this. This was promos. Oh gosh, I don't even remember what season, but this was for their promo images where it's a full day. They get still images. They do live feed. Hey, watch Vampire Diaries this Thursday. That kind of, it's a whole media day. It's crazy. But I was assigned to Paul that day. So he does wear foundation. I think it's more the look of that vampire look. And there is a little contour that happens for him for Vampire Diaries. So that's probably a slightly more heavy-handed for a man than, I don't want to say normal, but they have a very unique look and it's structured cheekbones. They are supposed to be playing vampires. So But it's promo day, so they're supposed to look like them. But yeah, we did do a little foundation and a little contour.
A little contour. So is that like, do you make them look like more like vampires because you put like a whiter, more pale makeup on them, or no, you're just trying to make them look more natural?
Not for promo day. I actually wasn't on the show itself. I just did promos and some press, satellite media tours and stuff like that. Right. Ian, I did something for his Ian Somerhalder Foundation, and Candace Accola, who's now Candace Accola King. I worked with her outside of Vampire Diaries as well. But we did not for promos. I can't speak for what happens on the actual filming of the show, though.
Right. Okay, so we're going to show a couple clips, and I'm going to put on this little text here. It says, put sound on, playing sound clips, because everybody watches this on Facebook and YouTube with no sound because they're working or they're doing stuff, and they just see the captions. But everybody put your sound on so you can hear what's happening. But let's talk about this first clip that I'm going to show, which is the Ian Somerhalder. Somerhalder.
Yeah.
Was he also on Lost, or am I mixing him up with someone?
Yes, he was.
Okay.
I don't know enough about how long, but he was on Lost as well.
Okay. And this is for Omaze, which I know is like this thing that it's a contest, and you enter and pay money, and you can win a night with him, and it's kind of a funny little spot. But what are you doing for the makeup? Is it just the
It was pretty straightforward makeup, just making his skin, I mean, I'm going to be honest, those guys from Vampire Diaries look pretty good without makeup.
Yeah,
so,
they don't need it.
I mean, yeah.
All right, Amy, they don't need makeup. Just let them show up.
I did put foundation. I did put a little foundation, just, make the skin look nice and smooth. It was a dimly lit with a lot of candles for that.
It is kind of dark with candles,
So I'm always looking, at the lighting. Is there any shadows under the eyes? Is there anything I can do about that? I mean, sometimes you know the lighting people well enough that you can kind of have that conversation with them ahead, which I try to whenever possible. But I guess let's go ahead and watch it and see.
We're going to watch the clip in a second, but I have this question because I know this, when I worked at Turner, I worked at Turner Warner Media now, and all the studios went from HD to 4K, and so now you're really seeing people's details, and a lot of the hosts and hostesses wore more foundation and more makeup. Some of them even wearing eyeliner, because you are really seeing these people now and all the details and the flaws. So have you had to consider that with a shoot that's maybe shooting in 4K, or is a higher resolution that you're going to see more of the person?
Yes. I'm trying to think. I feel like you see more skin texture and shine for sure. That's always been my thing, to me, makeup just looks better if the skin looks great. You can get away with more. So I try to take a look again at what the lighting's going to be like ahead of time. Someone's already setting up monitors and lighting and using a stand-in to figure out their lighting. Now, the one mistake I see new makeup artists make is that they want to jump in before they've locked down what the lighting's going to be. Like, you need to let them figure that out first, because there's a lot of play time where there's a whole crew in there getting the lighting just right before they bring talent onto set. But when you're close, you can take a look, and I do a base makeup, but then I take a peek at the lighting and say, I might want to bump this up or tone this down. Blush could look too dark. Like, I go pretty easy-handed on blush for women with this type of camera, especially the 4K.
Right, the high res.
It can look like a little stripey.
Right.
Not a good look.
So here's a camera question. This Ian Somerhalder, Somerhalder, is he like a high-res camera, or do you know if it's just video?
Oh, I don't remember what cameras we used, but I mean, it wasn't that long ago. It was in the last 5 years, so all of them are high def of everything you have for today.
Right. Okay. All right. We're going to show this spot for Omaze with Ian something. Here we go.
Hi, Ian Somerhalder here. I'm flying you and a friend out to the land of the Vampire Diaries to spend a night with me. I'll take you to dinner, where we can get to know each other a little better. Then, let's take on an extra spooky haunted house. And those selfies that we take together will suck the blood out of Instagram. That is creepy as hell. So when you enter to spend the night with me, you're helping positively impact the planet and its creatures through the Ian Somerhalder Foundation. To enter, head to omaze.com/Ian. That's OMAZE.com/Ian. Or just click this button. I can't wait for our frighteningly night.
Very cool. Okay, so that's like a real spot, and that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's great. Yeah.
Is he great?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
He's a lot of fun. Just easygoing, kind of like what you saw. He's like, that's creepy as hell. Can I say that? Can I say that word?
Yes.
As heck. I don't know.
Hell, heck is fine.
Okay.
Not
all right.
the real bad ones, because we're on the day.
Okay. All right.
So let me ask you this, because I've heard this from people who work at TCM and TNT and the sports people. The bigger the star, the nicer they are. Do you find that? Do you find, like, have you worked with any huge star? I mean, he's a pretty big star. That they almost are like, I've heard this about Alec Baldwin and Sally Field and different celebrities that when they're huge, they park their own car. Sally Field, by the way, does her own makeup. She shows up at set with her own makeup, and she doesn't want her makeup done. She's fine.
Wow.
So the question is have you had that experience, or?
I'd say there's some truth to that. Not that I've worked with Sally Field or Alec Baldwin, not quite that level of celebrity, but I think sometimes it's just how secure they are. They've been down this road. They're comfortable now. I think sometimes I've worked with a first time, I don't want to say anything specific to any particular person, but if they're newer to being in front of the camera, at least speaking in front of the camera, sometimes you get people that are used to being in print and now they have this opportunity to do a video world or TV world, which is great. But you see insecurities kind of pop in. So they micromanage the makeup or the wardrobe or whatever. And again, you can't take that stuff personally. You just try to make the person feel as comfortable as possible because they're processing their own thing and getting themselves ready to maybe step out and have 12. I mean, I can think of an instance where this person, first time, 12 cameras are going to be facing right at her and she needs to look super confident. And it starts with, I think everyone can relate to, you don't feel good with your wearing one day, or you don't like the lipstick you put on or something, and it throws off your confidence and how you feel. So our part is to get them looking good and feeling good, hopefully. Right. And then it's just one more boost to being able to step into this situation that might be brand new to them. So I do think there's some validity to that for sure. But, there are big people that I've heard aren't so great. I've had great experiences, and I want to knock on wood because I really haven't had a horror story, and now I'm afraid that I said that out loud. It's going to happen. I find most people are great.
Yeah. That has been my experience too. But also I think we're in a time where a lot of that crap isn't going to be tolerated like it used to be. I can remember working in sports 15 years ago and people were yelling and screaming at people in the studio and the edit room. And I was just like, oh my God, how does this person get away with this? And I just don't think you can get away with that stuff anymore. It's just the way it was,
Yeah.
And people would take it, but now it's definitely not that kind of environment. So let's talk about, this is the Hallmark Channel. It's a cooking show. It's Taylor Hicks, who won American Idol. There's a co-host with him. I don't know her name.
So he was that was a guest spot. I like to say we did because I was on the road with him, but I was not on camera, obviously. Right. He did 2 guest spots there, separate, about a year apart. that's filmed at Universal Studios in Los Angeles, and we went out there to do a guest spot. But he was the host for 50 episodes of a show called State Plate. It was a food and travel show where I traveled with him, and I actually did his wardrobe too during that time. So I was all three, makeup, hair, and wardrobe for him for almost 3 years. I was on the road with him. So, but that was a guest spot.
Okay, do you prefer that to do all three, or are you just like really into makeup? Or
makeup is definitely makeup over hair is more my thing. It was fun to do wardrobe as well. For when you're on the road with one male talent, just doing makeup doesn't take up a huge part of your day. So it was fun to do all three. And it was a new experience for me doing that. It actually led to me doing wardrobe on another show as well, ironically, even though makeup is first in my profession.
Okay, very cool. All right, so we're just gonna watch this clip. It's a couple minutes. Taylor Hicks on the Hallmark Channel. Is that right?
That was Hallmark Channel. The show State Plate broadcasts on another channel, but is on Amazon Prime now. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Here we go.
White barbecue sauce.
Which, by the way, I'd never even heard of white barbecue sauce.
This is a southern delicacy that a lot of people do not really know. And white barbecue sauce has been around in the deep, deep South for a long time. We are just now letting that recipe out of the bag. It is the most amazing sauce for chicken.
Okay, so how do we make it?
For barbecue chicken. So we have mayonnaise here, a little bit of horseradish.
Could you do it with pulled pork too, or with
Yes,
anything else?
pulled pork's amazing with it. You've got salt, cayenne, pepper.
Wow. Oh my gosh, already it looks
That's a little bit of vinegar.
That's a lot of garlic, huh? Oh my god. Could scare away a
Cayenne,
vampire.
black pepper. And then obviously you mix it all up and you chill it. So you have to have it chilled, but it is the most amazing.
But it throws you because it's not a barbecue flavor.
It's not a barbecue flavor, but it is the most amazing sauce, and we call it Alabama white barbecue sauce.
Of course.
It's really good.
Could you call it an Alabama slammer?
Alabama slam. I think that's the dream. That's a whole nother deal.
Would you consider yourself a foodie before
When
this,
you're
after this?
From Alabama, you cannot not be a foodie.
Right.
Yeah.
Being from the South, and obviously, having a barbecue restaurant in Alabama, Saul's Barbecue, and touring as much as I do with music and now with State Plate, I'm very blessed to call myself a wonderful foodie, and I love it.
Do we put this inside of there?
Well, you put that on the
Oh, and then you
sandwich.
put it on top.
Yeah,
Okay.
and you drizzle it on top.
It's not like a
and
chicken salad.
It's just kind of your classic. It's kind of your classic pulled chicken sandwich.
Yeah.
Or you could do it with pulled pork.
You could do a turkey.
Turkey's great.
Okay, I stopped it a little early because we definitely saw what he looked like. He looked great. He did look like he had like a coat on while he was cooking in the kitchen. Is that true, or is that a shirt?
No, it's the jacket. He likes to layer. He loves his jackets. In fact, I'm pretty certain that was his favorite brand, his John Barbados, which is a great men's line if guys are watching, which probably, I don't know that many men are watching this, but it's a great men's line.
There are men watching. I know there's at least one guy, Greg, watching. So.
Oh, okay.
At least one guy, Greg.
Hi, Greg.
And there's definitely a lot of people who watch this after a lot, for sure. Yeah. Because it's on so many platforms. But I saw, did I see Carson Kressley from What is he doing on that channel?
They, I believe, changed the key hosts. Oh gosh, I'm going to forget the woman that was with him, and what's it, Mark at the end? Oh my God, that's terrible. I'm sorry. I should have studied that beforehand. And then they have these guest people come in for the different segments to try out the food, or they'll do a live. Every time we did a guest appearance on that show, he also went out. There's this great backyard where they have a little stage area, and he would play a song too to promote his music as well. So
Taylor,
so did a little music element to that too. So they would invite people to come watch the music, come into the kitchen. When you walk through that house that they film, each room is used, and it looks like a house. It's just here you're coming into the living room. We're inviting some guests in to sit down. So
Right.
He might have done a segment that day too. It's hard when you're there with someone else because you sit in a trailer until it's your time to go to set, and so you don't see a lot of what else happens during that episode.
Right. That is a lighting nightmare. Those people, 5 people sitting together at the end. Because I used to grip on movies, and I'd be like, "Okay, I'm going home, guys. Have a good day." Like that is just not fun to try and light 5 people sitting at a counter. Probably.
I have it behind the scenes.
Oh, you do?
Sorry. Yeah, I have a picture somewhere of all the cameras and like ladders and stuff that.
Yeah, million lights everywhere.
Yeah.
Them with light. So, okay, so this last spot that we're going to show, it's this woman in her car and she's eating a sandwich or something. It's racetrack.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to grab it because she looks great and there's that like sort of out of focus background. But it's really, the question is, how do you do makeup for nighttime? And does it even show up? And do you like put really heavy eye makeup or what do you do to make it different for nighttime before we show it?
So, before we show the clip, that one, I mean, I do the makeup in a trailer with proper lighting and match your skin tone and everything. I like to find out what the lighting's going to look like for that particular scene. We did shot today. There was a bunch of different commercials that were shot that same day. So that was the last one of the day. It was very dark out. Obviously, you have lighting guys. And then they had some lights in the car and stuff. It was, I have to look at it again exactly. But I did bump up her eye makeup a little bit because it is a darker, you'll see when you watch, it's a darker whole setup. She's in a car. There's some lights coming in from the exterior. But then there's the food element, which as a makeup artist, you need to be standing there with wipes, paper towels, refreshing of lipstick, touch up the foundation around the lips and stuff. You have to be watching that monitor closely and just let them know you're going to have to get in between each eating scene because that would not be great if there's, unless they want food all over the face. So.
Right.
But that's what they want.
That's something that's really interesting that I wanted to ask you is that, so you're not, see, I have this image of the makeup trailer and then everybody gets their makeup and then you're done and they just go to set. But you actually go to set and make sure to do touch-ups and wipe their mouth or whatever. Yeah.
I make sure I can see a monitor always, no matter what we're shooting. You have to be able to see what's happening, whether the person's getting shiny. It could be continuity. For makeup, continuity is more in the lips. The rest of the makeup holds up. But for hair, if my hair is back behind my shoulders and every other take, all of a sudden they move in and it's in front, that's not good, So you need, continuity is huge for makeup and just making sure they aren't sweating, or a lot of times I'll ask the talent, if it's, especially in Georgia, 100 degrees sometimes, I might fold up a really flat paper towel for them to have in a pocket off camera. And if they're sweating and sometimes you can't get in if it's a car and they've got all these rigs around it and lights and it's almost impossible to get in and touch up. I'll give them stuff to blot sweat because I don't want beads of sweat dripping down their forehead.
Right.
Hopefully you can get in and do that for them, but sometimes you can't see that. And there's a lot of people, you've got clients, you've got agency people, or directors, producers, and you don't want to stand in front of a director or producer to look at the monitor unless you know them well and say, hey, can I just speak and see if there's, blah, blah, blah. On a bigger show, you'll be given your own monitor. I worked on Walking Dead for a little bit, and we had our own monitors to look at. So that was great. But a lot of times you're fighting for a glimpse of how things are holding up.
Okay, so that was another, we're never going to get to this clip.
I'm sorry, I totally forgot about the clip.
No, but so The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you because I did know a makeup person who worked on movies. Do you do any special effects makeup, or are you saying like when you were on The Walking Dead, you were just doing the actors and someone else was doing the special effects? Yeah,
the speaking out actors like Andrew Lincoln and Norman Reedus, those, I wasn't doing the walkers, as they say. That's a whole nother team and a whole nother art. Those people are amazing. I wish I could say I could do that. Mine wouldn't look like theirs.
Would you want to do that?
I don't really have a desire to do that kind. I can do blood. I can do sweat, bruising. I put fake blisters on. It was for a shoe thing. I made a fake blister on someone's heel. Some effects I do. So, and that's great. I love a challenge like that. I do tattoo cover a ton, but a lot of prosthetics. At this point, that's not my thing, but never rule anything out. I think you always keep learning in your craft. So.
Okay, I didn't think I was going to have any questions for you, but I have a million. So Andrew Lincoln and Norman Reedus, this is really geeky, but I'm part of this Geek Vibes network, which does Marvel and DC and Walking Dead and all these things, Fear of the Walking Dead. And they will watch this, and they will love to know, did you get a chance to go out for drinks with those guys? Did you talk to them on set? What were they like? Because those are the two big actors on the show.
Yeah, and I was either third or additional. So in a big department like that, you have a makeup artist, you have a key artist. Those two people usually do the top talent for the show. But there was a day where my department had said, I need you to watch Andy for the day, Andrew Lincoln. And I said, sure, great. And that, now I forgot your question.
The question is, did you get a chance to talk to them?
Oh, yeah.
What were they like?
Yeah.
Because I know this woman worked on Big Bang Theory, and she went out for drinks with them after every night. She was just a PA at the time, but yeah.
Well, I was an additional artist, so I wasn't there every day. I was what they call day playing, where you get called in. I kind of relate it to people in other industries, like a substitute teacher. You're not needed every day, but in this case, if there's enough talent coming in, we've got 15 key people on camera today, then there's a bigger team of us that day. So, Andrew is one of the nicest people I've ever met. He's a doll. He's very sweet. He said, anytime I touched him up, he said, thank you, Amy. And that was the first day we were on a first name basis. So, and he always said, thank you, which it's hard to, for something like that, your actor is trying to get in a headspace for this character. Right. So I try to get in and out, and if they want to talk, great. That's wonderful. But sometimes they're trying to stay in character. Or Andrew, when we were in between takes, he had headphones in. I have no idea what he listened to, but he'd pace around and he stayed in his mindset. But he always said, looked you in the eye and said thank you, which I always thought was really sweet. He didn't have to do that. Right. So as far as I accidentally wound up having drinks with some of them, not Andrew or Norman, but some of the cast from Walking Dead, because I ran into them at Superica at Krog Street Market. Oh. And I said hi, and they're like, come sit with us. So, that did happen, but it wasn't pre-planned out.
All right. But you weren't stalking them.
No.
You were going to get a burrito. I get it.
Yeah.
All right, so we're finally that's very cool.
We're going to watch the clip.
We're going to watch the clip. This is we've been trying to watch it for 20 minutes. So this is Racetrack, and it's funny, and it's a woman in her car, and it's nighttime, and here we go. Yeah. It's 30 seconds.
Denise is a 5-star rated driver. Make that a 4.8-star rated driver. Whatever. Guess those tiny water bottles just didn't impress. But Denise has earned whatever she wants. Like a breakfast sandwich in the morning. Wait, it is morning, right? Now that's whatever.
Okay, there she was. We finally got to the clip. Okay, so another question, and then we're going to go to advice, because we're getting up there. We're like 45 minutes in.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I worked on a feature film, and we had to shut down a day because we're in an old building in New York, and we just couldn't get the electricity to work. And the cameras, well, some of the cameras don't need electricity, but at the time the lighting needed electricity. There was things that we needed electricity for, so they literally canceled the day and had to go to another warehouse. There was some other shoot that I did it was a Burger King shoot for a commercial, and it was raining so hard. It was supposed to be all these soldiers out in the rain, and it was just raining so hard they couldn't shoot anything. So they canceled that day. So my question for you is, was there a day on set or even in print where everything went wrong, nothing worked, and you just had to go home, or just a bad day on set? Any story that you have, like how you didn't crack under pressure and kept your composure because things were going a little bit wire.
I'm trying to think of something canceling like that. There was a shoot that we had a particular talent that was representing a brand, and we were all already on set, and she canceled when everyone was all. So we shot all the B-roll we could shoot, all the extras, and got as much done as we can, but that cost production a whole nother day for all the crew to come back. So I think that's the closest to what you're saying. Weather-wise, sometimes I'll be held for a rain day if they know this is a shot they really need to have and it's crucial to their commercial. Usually for me, that's been a commercial thing because on a show, often they'll just rearrange the schedule as they need to work around that. But if it's a commercial where you're only doing anywhere from a day to possibly 4 days, sometimes they'll add on a rain day that you usually get compensated for. So.
Okay, so let's go. I had another question and I lost it, but I'll get it back. So let's go to advice. What kind of advice would you give to a young person who wants to do this as a career? And I know you're doing multiple things in multiple industries, but just what would your advice be to someone who wants to do something like this for a career?
Well, you need some kind of training. You know, I went through a little different route, and also it was over 15 years ago for me. So nowadays there's so many makeup schools. I think that's a great avenue if you want to get into television. For me, working for a brand was great because I got exposure to, like I said before, so many skin types, skin tones, textures, and got to play a lot. I think get together with your peers and create a portfolio. Whether you do some indie work for film and TV, because that's where your direction lies, or if you want to be a fashion makeup artist and do editorial, team up with a student photographer. When I started, I reached out. Now, at the time, it was Craigslist. There wasn't all these social media options to reach out to peers. But at the time, I put an ad on Craigslist to see if any students would want to shoot, to start some portfolio pieces for myself. So I get emails I shouldn't say all the time, pretty consistently from people saying they'd love to assist, but then they don't send me images of any work. Have work to share and network. A ton of networking. I told everyone what I wanted to be doing at least. And anytime somebody said, hey, I have a friend, can I get the contact? Can I introduce myself? Would that be okay? You know.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that's the question that I forgot, which I kind of ask of everyone, and I kind of know the answer, but I'd love for you to tell the people that are watching, how do you get work? So is it all word of mouth? At this point in your career, you've been doing this for 10, 15 years, and people are just like, from print, from commercials, from TV, finding you and calling you? Or do you go through an agency that finds work, or how does it work?
Well, there's, again, a couple answers to that. Yeah. Mainly networking and relationship building. I have relationships with some photographers and producers that I absolutely love in my Atlanta community, and we work together a lot. Those are very valuable, and I mean, there's nothing like building relationships in this business. And also you get to learn how each other's flow is, especially with photographers and producers and directors too. Because there's a flow that happens on set with whatever medium that you're working in. So that's the main thing. I have an agent, but because I don't do it as much, people kind of bypass agencies, I think, here in Atlanta. I think it would be different in New York or LA. But my agent's here in Atlanta it's called Cruise. So, and people can find you directly these days. Social media has really changed that and made it harder for agencies to hire people, to get hired through the agency, because they can find me on Instagram or my website and just reach out directly. So I get hired that way. And I don't want to forget, the relationships I have with my fellow makeup artists are the most invaluable relationships because we refer each other work all the time. I know people that I know how they work on set. it's a whole set etiquette too. So yes, you need to be able to do the job, but it's personalities, how they work with the talent, how they work with their fellow crew members. So I have a list in my phone. If somebody says, hey, I can't do it, that, okay, I'm going to send you this friend or that colleague friend. They're all friends now, that we refer each other a ton of work, and those relationships are so invaluable to me.
Very cool. Well, while you were talking, I just had this idea, and I do this sometimes. I kind of refer some of my guests to other guests. So you have a beautiful website, and the photos especially on there are really beautiful. And they kind of reminded me of this woman I interviewed who lives in Italy, actually. She's Polish, I believe. I'm hoping not getting that wrong. Her name is Alexandra, Alex with a K, Sandra Di Gesaro. And I would love for you to look her up.
Okay.
And I can email you her name. I mean, probably a link to our thing, but she has a website you can find. And I encourage everybody to watch our interview, which was probably a month or two ago. But she has some of the most beautiful photographs I've ever seen. And a lot of it lives in Milan. And, you get the backgrounds of that architecture and the buildings, but also she has women on horses and wow, sort of dressed up in a carnival type of way. But I'd be very interested to see what you think about her stuff. And it might even be very cool for you guys to just chat online and have a conversation.
That'd be amazing.
Because you both are involved with these very beautiful photographs. So this has been great, Amy.
Thank you
so much.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's been great talking to you. I thought I would have no questions, and of course I had a million. But it was great hearing about what you do, and I kind of learned some things, and I hope everybody at home learned some things. And can you tell everybody where they can find your website and if they want to work with you, contact you?
My website is makeup-designs.com, and Instagram is at Amy Elizabeth Makeup. So any one of those, Instagram will link you to my website. So at Amy Elizabeth Makeup or makeup-designs.com.
Very cool. Well, I'll be watching for your new stuff in the future, and I'll check out your website every once in a while. But definitely, I'm going to send you Alexandra's information. I would love to hear what you think of her work, because I think I'm just absolutely blown away by her photographs. And she does other stuff too. She does coaching and painting, but she's super, super talented. So thank you so much for this.
Thank you.
It was fun, and we will talk soon. And in a couple of months, this will be an audio podcast, and I will contact you and let you know when that is, so you can spread that around also. All right. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Sean. Thank you. This was fun.
But we didn't say hi to Gina. Is Gina watching?
Oh, Gina. Is Gina watching? I can't see. Is there a feed or something? Anyhow, if Gina's watching.
There's comments, but there's like 5 different social things, and they're supposed to all come together on the comments. And I don't see anything. But yeah, hey, Gina, hey, Nicole, and we will talk soon. Good luck with everything.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sean. I appreciate it.
Okay,
all right. Take care.